Hi, I'm Johnny Profane. Welcome back to Autistic as Fuck Out Loud. You may not know it, but I'm what you call an autistic elder. See, I'm pushing 70, and average lifespan of autistic males? 53. If you're autistic, love one, work with some, or just can't figure out if you are one, I have a story for you. Today I'm hot on the trail of autistic joy. What it is, why you want it, how to get it. This episode on autistic joy, personality, and being in the flow. What are you doing? My former mother's voice was sharp. I'm laying spread-eagled on the backyard grass, face down. I've called you 3 times. She's annoyed. What are you doing? I don't know it in 2nd grade. But I have difficulties shifting attention when I'm focused. So I try to focus my ears, then think back, review my short-term memory, and replay the last few moments. I try to hear, then translate, anything she might have said while I'm in my little focus bubble. Already at 7, this process of rehearsing or rewinding the tape to interpret what's going on is an automatic and constant process. Anytime I'm around, people. Checking for my verbal mistakes, missed social cues, guessing if they meant what they said or were just mocking me. Desperately trying to understand what's going on. Anyway, I'm still in the grass, sorting it out, choosing words carefully to avoid trouble, clearing my throat, moving my sleeping tongue, loosening my jaw, just about ready to speak. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing? Close as I come to a falsehood at that age. I've been in the backyard an hour or so, gloriously alone, exploring with my new magnifying glass. See, there was this great hobby shop in Johnson City. It had all kinds of cool science toys. And I'd saved up my 50-cent allowance for weeks to buy what the colorful package promised. A real, handheld, glass magnifying glass with all-metal handle. I peered through it entranced, examining grass leaves, dewdrops, and ants. Dozens of ants, one after another, legs, antennae, mandibles, eyes, guiltily burning off the occasional leg with focused sunlight. Endless fascination. I was in the flow. Okay, whatever you're doing. I wait for her command that will end my timeless bliss. Stop doing it. It's time for lunch. I sigh, roll over, and trudge in. Hardly sounds like abuse, right? You know, autistic joy is hard to explain, to another person. Pretty much any non-autistic person. And trying to explain to you drags me into deep philosophical waters. Imagine that last delicious dream you're enjoying as you drowse in a warm, snuggly bed on a lazy Saturday morning when you don't have to get up. Then out of nowhere, someone screams, "Get up!" You're so startled for a second. You don't know where you are, what you're doing, the time of day, the season. Now, imagine that every damn day. Many, many, many times a day. Torture, right? Being startled out of the flow, it's like that. Capiche? You dig? Get it? That's as close as I can think of to explain autistic flow, or better yet, autistic joy. That same joy you see on the face of an autistic kid dancing endlessly, unashamed, in a sprinkler, in the sun. Lost to the world, but found in himself. If I had to guess, this is precisely what being in the moment, in the now, maybe even Zen Satori, mean. Now, this is all preamble to what I really want to talk about. Here's the deal on flow. I think that's where I spent most of my time as a kid. When I wasn't interacting with family, schoolmates, parents, teachers, the few humans I let into my life back then. And that time alone, endlessly exploring, learning, feeling, being, bliss. Gradually as I aged, these blissful moments became fewer and fewer, and fewer, further and further and further apart, nearly gone. First, I was forced into a school system that I clearly was not wired for. Rigid, lockstep, regimented, regulated, scheduled, boring, with no free time to be me. Later, of course, it got much worse. Jobs, relationships, finances, life in modern adult America. I had a stress-induced stroke at 30. Now, I have developed methods and routines to recapture flow, and I will talk about that in a moment. But I have some personal speculation to get off my chest first. I don't think I had a native personality when I was a kid. At least not as neurotypical humans understand a personality. My natural state, left to my own devices, wandering from moment to moment of autistic joy. No motivations, no intentions, no verbal thought. Which meant, as a kid, I was either happy exploring or I was forced to don my personality. In other words, the language, facial expressions, body language, polite responses, and social lies that humans think of as personality, and that the social contract demands. All of which is so natural for most humans they aren't even aware of it. But for me, it was like being dragged out of my comfy pajamas and forced into the worst, most cumbersome, restrictive, awkward, embarrassing winter coat, earmuffs, muffler, heavy snow boots, and mittens your mother ever stuffed you into to get on the bus to kindergarten. And you know it still is, at nearly 70. Especially fun times. Parties, family get-togethers, intimate conversation. That's when I adopt my personality, you know, to survive. Really nothing more than habits of behavior and speech that make it easy for other humans to predict what I'll be like, so they can feel comfortable around me. Not an essential self, just, personality. Certainly not me. I'm going to hazard a guess, which may be narcissistic delusion. Flow, or autistic joy, seems awfully close to what the Buddha described as experiencing no self versus the conditioned mind. From age 2 on, I clearly remember long waking periods without any verbal thought, just perceiving in awe and wonder everything. Until I had to interact with humans, any humans, even those I was required to, love. But when the personality switched on, the joy collapsed. Not into pain, collapsed into an all-absorbing effort, intellectualizing every word, every gesture, tone of voice of my own, and interpreting all those of each and every human I was with, and then carefully weighing precisely the right word, tone of voice, facial expression, and body attitude to project, all at the same time, to the other person, to avoid being in trouble with them. Plus, even at a young age, I had a growing sense of the need to protect others from me. Because I was different. Because I acted as if I were arrogant. Because I hurt people without understanding. Because I was bad. And I had to protect everyone around me from that. From me. Every single second that I was with another human. Except very young children, and of course, animals. I promise to share what I found about recapturing flow. It's simple. You just got to do more than nod sagely and mumble, "Yup, I get it." You got to make it a priority, while everybody else is telling you it's the wrong priority. Step 1. Remember what made you happy when you were young. Or whenever you remember being happy. Step 2, actually do it again, now, as a grown-up. Here are my go-tos. Yours will be different. 20 minutes walking in the wildest nature I have access to, my thoughts slowly slow down. My breathing becomes regular. I stop internally commenting on things I see, smell, feel, and begin simply seeing, smelling, feeling, being. A little light, repetitive, prolonged exercise can get me into a light trance, a runner's high kind of space. Walking alone, or sweeping the floor, even shaving my face in detail. Playing a musical instrument works for me. An hour of scales or studies on my guitar doesn't always work. I can certainly get sick and tired of it, but many days it snaps me right into wordless joy. Reducing even one sensory input can restore my inner balance. Turning off the sound of one annoying fan. Taking off tight clothes or shoes. Something so simple can put me in a happy place. If everything else is going pretty much okay. And I gotta bring up meditating. I've used maybe a dozen methods. They all work to get me there, in slightly different ways, at least with eyes closed. Just 10 or 15 minutes of silence gives me relief from the constant internal monologue, intellectualizing, thinking. If you're autistic, OCD, ADHD, you need to see if periods of deep, deep silence don't give you relief. If you've never tried it, it's easy to download guided meditations for your phone. And a metric shit ton cheaper than noise-canceling headphones, which, by the way, are great too. And, maybe most of all, I crave unstructured, unlimited time on one of my special interests. Baking bread, fermenting pickles, gardening, deep focused reading, painting, writing, searching news, sci-fi flicks, so many others. When I pursue a special interest alone, sometimes it's nearly orgasmic. In fact, I've totally redefined my understanding of special interests. They're not a forbidden pleasure, a shameful quirk, something I waste time on when there's nothing more important to do. They are my guiding passions, my gateways to bliss, transcendence, oneness, maybe even whatever God is or isn't. My reason for being, my purpose, my job. I learned a lot that spring day on the lawn in Johnson City. I saw infinity in a burnt-off ant leg. And eventually, I went for it. You can, too. And with that, I'm just another masked man, off in a cloud of smoke. Till next time. Let me end with, you guys blow my mind. The feedback you're sending me? Out of a gazillion podcasts out there, you said this one did something for you, helped you understand your kid, gave you an idea to try, confirmed something you always knew was true about you. That means a lot to this autistic elder. A lot. Next week, some controversy coming at you. Police, autistics, and the sometimes tragic interactions between them. Want to know more? Check out my posts, paintings, poems, and politics at www.autisticaf.me. And as I get this new podcast off the ground, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it on social media. Or better yet, send it to a friend.